Guys, am I audible to everyone? Can you please respond fast? Don't put things in direct messages. Change it to everyone. Okay, just a moment. I just change it. Just give me a moment. Okay. Okay, cool. I've done it. No, it's perfect. Chalo. Yeah. Cool. So I hope I'm perfectly audible. Now, just keep in mind one thing that just give me a moment. Just give me a moment, guys. Okay. So fine. We are good to go. A couple of things you need to keep in your mind when you are like into this session. The first and foremost is that the session would sort of uh, be slightly on the slightly higher pace session because we have to cater a good number of questions. That's the first thing you need to keep in your mind. Uh, the second thing is that the focus should be at the optimum level. The focus should be at the optimum level. It's like because once the focus deviates, because the things would be slightly on the higher pace side, slightly higher pace. It's not very high speed or something like that. So focus should be on the higher level because otherwise you might miss out something. You might miss out something. You might ask me, and then that breaks the flow. That's one thing to keep in your mind. The second thing is very crucial. This is very important. When you are asking doubts, at such the discussions would be very, very, very simple. When you are asking doubts, stick to the discussion. Is that pretty clear to everyone, guys? Is it very, very, very clear to everyone? Stick to the discussion. You've got additional doubts. I'm happy to clear it, but post the session. Is it very, very, very clear? Got an additional doubt? I'm happy to clear it, but that's post the session. Is it absolutely clear to everyone, guys? Yep. Got doubts regarding what has been talked about or what is being talked about? Like that's absolutely fine. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is that very, very, very clear? Now, the session would be more or less like it won't be, there won't nothing sort of conventional or non-conventional while solving the question. That is not something I would be looking into. I would be sticking to the ideas or the approach I would have taken if I am actually appearing the paper. Is that pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? If I'm actually appearing the paper, then what is the approach I would have taken? That's all I would be talking about. Is it pretty clear? Lot of ideas. I mean, depending on the topics you have covered and stuff like that, there would be ideas which might be new to you. There would be ideas which might be new to you. don't bother about it. Is that pretty clear, guys? Because that would anyway be cleared when you are learning the session. So don't bother much about it. I try my level best that most of the ideas are not sort of very new to you. I try my level best for that part. But in case some ideas are new to you, don't bother much about it. Is that pretty clear, guys? That is absolutely fine. With a slightly higher effort, you can understand it, of course. And there won't be a lot of time to note down things. Maybe I'd give you 30 seconds to note down things because we have to cater a good number of questions and stuff. When I talked about focus, I just didn't talk about immediate focus. I also talked about a long-term focus. Long-term focus as in like whatever your mental energy is at this point of time, to ensure that maybe 2 hours post the session also you possess the same or reasonably like almost the same mental energy. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Got it? So that is expected out of you, and that is a very obvious thing. Like here, if I am talking, like here I am the one who is talking. I am the one who is using my brain, and you are just the listener. So if you can't have the same optimum efficiency for 3 hours in today's session, it is highly like not possible. Like it is completely unexpected, like completely not expected out of you that you would have the same efficiency when you are actually appearing with your paper and you are actually using your own brain. Is that pretty clear? Is it very clear? If you can't possess a mental energy of 3 hours today, then you cannot possess a mental energy of 3 hours in the actual CAT scenario. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very clear? Is it perfectly clear? It's just like the physical thing. It's just like the physical thing. You cannot expect it cannot happen that if you are not able to run for 10 hours or if you are not able to run for 20 minutes in the practice session, then you cannot run for 20 minutes in the actual scenario, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very clear? It's simple. It's simple analogy. Nothing complicated over here. Nothing complicated over here. So we are good to go to start with things. Now, before starting, couple of things I would like to mention from CAT problem solving perspective. The goal would always be, it is not about conventional or non-conventional. For me, when I personally solve the paper, it is also not about more time or less time. मैं इस बात के ऊपर भी सोचता नहीं हूं कि मेरे को ज्यादा टाइम लगेगा या कम टाइम लगेगा, मैं उसके बारे में भी नहीं सोचता हूं. I always think of one thing, is the approach that I'm gonna take, how much of impact it would put on my brain, how much of effort my brain would undergo while solving this question. Is it very clear? Lesser the effort, the better, the fresher my brain would be, the more fresh my brain would be, the better it would be. Like that, the better it would work. Is that pretty clear, guys? So I never think about, when in general I'm solving a question, I never think about conventional and non-conventional or more time and less time. I just solve the question. CAT mein as such, CAT mein, even if you're trying to solve 30 questions, I mean, general CAT scenario I am talking about, where CAT used to conduct, like bearing the last time where because of the pandemic, it had 2 hours slot and 26 questions. Bearing that, 34 questions, 34 questions in 60 odd minutes. So even if you're solving 30 questions in 60 odd minutes, that's still how many minutes per question? That's still how many minutes per question, guys? How many minutes per question? That's 2 minutes per question. So at such CAT, you don't need to rush. Is that pretty clear? At such in CAT, you don't need to rush. Is that pretty clear? Is it very clear? Is it very clear? Like you might invest 3 minutes for some question, but at the same time, some question won't take 2 minutes, but 1 minute. Is that pretty clear? So that averages out, right? Is it pretty clear? So at such CAT, you don't need to rush. It is more about saving your mental energy so that it helps your brain works at the same efficiency for a longer period of time. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it absolutely clear? Is that dead clear to everyone, this part? So that would be our major focus. And so let's start with the proceedings. So we'll be taking a couple of questions to start with. Okay, so just 15 seconds time to scan through the question, guys. 15 seconds time to scan through the question. Or you can take a screenshot as well. That's fine. You can take a screenshot or whatever you can do. 15 seconds time to scan through the question. Okay. How many 3-digit numbers are there for which the product of their digits are like, how many 3-digit numbers are there for which the product of the digit is more than 2 and less than 7? The moment you read this question, the first thing you need to realize that 2 is not included, 7 is not included. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? This is one thing you need to keep in your mind, that 2 isn't included, 7 isn't included. Once you include 2 and once you include 7, then you are out of the game actually, even if you know the approach. Is it pretty clear? Got it. Now, the assumption part always becomes easy when the brain knows that what are the possibilities it is targeting. So what are the product possibilities it is targeting? Can you tell me, guys? What are the product possibilities the brain is targeting? Everyone, guys, can you tell me? What are the product possibility the brain is targeting? Simple. Once you catch that, the game would become pretty easy. Now, what are the product possibility? It's targeting 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? 3, 4, 5, 6. So how do you get a product of 3? How do you get a product of 3? Tell me 3 numbers that would give you product of 3. Fast enough. Tell me 3 numbers integers. So 113 is fine. Now, there is no other configuration. I mean, this can interchange among themselves. This can interchange among themselves. Like when I tell about interchanging, this can interchange among themselves. Like this can be 113 or 131. This can interchange among themselves. And bearing that there is no other configuration. Is that pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? You are a bit good with permutation and combination. You are a bit good with permutation and combination. You know that the arrangement of n different thing is n factorial, provided they are n different thing. But here it's like 3 things, so 3 factorial, but 2 similar things are there. So divided by 2 factorial. So that's 3 ways. You can think that if you're not good with permutation combination, then also you can think it like this. It's a 3-digit number with 311. So if 3 can come here, 3 can come here, or 3 can come here, or 3 can come here, right? Is it pretty clear? When 3 comes there, 3 has got 3 situations, and when 3 comes there, automatically the 1 has got other 2 places, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear, guys? Is it perfectly clear? I mean, the 1 node automatically take the other 2 places. Like you can think of this. I mean, 3 situations. Now the same configuration. So this would be resultant of 3 numbers. Same configuration can come for 114 as well, right? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Is it absolutely clear to everyone, guys? 114 as well. But 3 can't be broken down further. But 4 you can break down, right? Isn't it? 4 can be broken down into product of which 2 numbers? 4 can be broken down into product of which 2 numbers? 2 and 2, right? Isn't it? So I can also have one more configuration, 1, 2, 2, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Got the idea? For 5, it's 115. 5 can't be broken down. For 6, it's 116, and 6 can be broken down. So 1, 2, 3. Is that pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? What you can observe now is all these, like the ones I'm marking in yellow, all these are situations of 2 similar and 1 different, right? Is it pretty clear? 2 similar and 1 different. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? 2 similar and 1 different. So all would have same number of ways of arrangement as the first one. So all would have 3 arrangement. So that's 3 into 5, 15. 15 different numbers. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 that can be arranged among itself in how many ways? That's 3 factorial, right? Isn't all 3 are different, right? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Is it very, very, very clear? So that's 3 factorial. So that's 6. So 15 plus 6 is 21. That's, you are through. Is that pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? I mean, the explanation and all, even with the explanation and all I gave, it still didn't take 2 minutes right now. So with exam, it's expected that you wrap it up in 40-45 seconds. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very clear? The starting point is, of course, this, that you start with this possibility. This is, you started randomly like this. Start with 1, 1. You start randomly writing numbers 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3. You start randomly writing without knowing the product. Then it puts too much of pressure on the brain. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very clear? So before knowing the possibility, get into what are exact, before assuming things, know what is the possibility you are looking for. I hope that part is clear. Just scan through it 30 seconds time, and then we would move on to the next one. Guys, make it fast. Quicken up, guys. It should be like you should be done with things. Not much of time we can give to note down things. So don't bother about it. It's like you just need to know the approaches and all. Just get the knack of solving questions. Let's move on to the next one. Slightly, I mean, you can think that this question is slightly on the tougher side, but okay, let's try to make it as simple as I can. Just think it this way. What are roots? Like in order to solve the question, the most basic thing you should know is what are roots. If there is an equation like this, then the root for the equation is that value of the variable. Here the variable is x, which makes the equation equal to 0. So what is the value of x? What is the value of x? 5. So 5 is the root of this equation. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very clear? Is it perfectly clear? I mean, if you have got something like this, 2 into x plus 6, then you have to find out the value of x that makes this entire thing 0. So this is 6, so this entire thing should be minus 6. If this has to be minus 6, then this is minus 3. Is that pretty clear, guys? Got idea? So that's the root. Now you have this bit of idea that a root is a value of equation, value of the variable in an equation, which makes the entire equation 0. How many people are clear with this, guys? How many people are perfectly clear with this? This is the basic thing that you need to solve this question. The most basic thing that you need to solve this question is that you should have the idea that root is that value of variable which makes the entire equation 0. It can be any equation. It can be a linear, it can be a quadratic, biquadratic, degree 4, degree 5, that doesn't matter. Now there are 4 distinct real roots. Now just pay attention over here, guys. Every number you choose, just see here, this has got a significance. So every number you choose, it's given that 5 plus x and 5 minus x, f of 5 plus x, whatever, if you put 5 plus x, whatever value you would get as output. If you put 5 minus x, you would get the same output. So that's one thing you need to keep in your mind. So every number you choose can be written in the form of 5 plus x, right? Is it pretty clear? Like if you choose 2, for suppose, can 2 be written in the form of 5 plus x? Tell the expression. How do you write 2 in the form of 5 plus x? How do you write 2 in the form of 5 plus x? Perfect. Very good. Wonderful. Sabas. If you get something like this, so if this can be written as 5 plus minus 3, then there would be a 5 minus x for this as well, right? Is it pretty clear? There would be a 5 minus x for this as well, right? Isn't 5 minus of minus 3? Is it pretty clear, guys? Is it absolutely clear? Is this bit absolutely clear to everyone, guys? Got it? So now let me tell me if 2 is a root of the equation. If 2 is a root of the equation, 5 minus of minus 3 is 8, by the way. So if 2 is a root of the equation, then uska corresponding jo 5 minus x ka value aayega. 2 is the root of the equation, matlab f of 2 0 aa raha hai, right? Isn't it? F of 2 0 aa raha hai, right? Is it very clear? F of 2 0 aa raha hai. तो उसका corresponding जो 5 minus x का value आएगा, like अगर f of 5 minus plus minus 3 अगर 0 दे रहा है, तो उसका corresponding जो value आएगा, 5 minus of minus 3, that would also give 0. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Got the idea? Is that dead clear to everyone, guys? Is it perfectly clear? Got the idea? So this part is a root of the equation. So this is 2 is a root of the equation. So uska corresponding jo bhi aayega, that 8 is also a root of the equation, right? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Uska complementary jo bhi aayega. So what is their sum? What is their sum? What is their sum, guys? What is their sum? 10, right? The sum is 10. So similarly, और एक root 7 आया, और एक root 7 आया, that's 5 plus 2, right? तो उसका corresponding क्या आएगा? 5 minus 2, right? Isn't it? 5 minus 2, right? That's 3. So उनका भी sum 10 है, right? Isn't it? Got the idea? So these are the 4 roots. Each pair is attributing to 10. So 4 roots means 2 pairs. What would be their sum? What would be their sum? Sum, guys. What would be their sum, everyone? 20, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? I mean, you just need to know what is the root. Is it very, very, very clear? What is the meaning of a root? Is it pretty clear to you guys? You just need to know what is the meaning of the root of an equation. Once you know the meaning of what is the root of an equation, you are absolutely true. Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Is this absolutely clear to you guys? I mean, this again is like sort of a question where you know this idea. I generally thought it this way, that I mean, any number I can think is, if I think 5 minus y as a root, then 5 plus y would also be a root, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? And if 5 minus z is a root, then 5 plus z would be also a root, right? Isn't it? So I have got the 4 roots. If I add them, then I have got 20, right? I straight away thought it like this in the examination and straight away marked it in 15, 20 odd seconds. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Got it, right? Is it pretty clear to them, guys? I hope that part is clear. So we would move on to the next question. Now, just see here. This very question, if you are good with log, then you can mark this question in like what? Again, 15, 20 odd seconds after reading the question. You have to know, if I give you a bit of basics about log, then when you have indices, so 2 power 3, that is equal to 8, right? Is it very, very, very clear, guys? 2 power 3 is equal to 8. So in log, what happens is, just see here, you have the base in log as well. Here you have the power, and you have to, here you have the power. In case of indices, the power is given, and this is the question mark, so you are saying 8. In case of log, this would be the question mark. Is that pretty clear? Like log 8 base 2 means he's asking 2 raised to what power is 8. That is the simple meaning of log. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is that absolutely clear? So what would be the answer? What would be the answer? 3, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it absolutely clear? Got it? This bit of idea you know about log. Of course, there are other things that would be straightforward, like that would be used. Like some of my students present over here must have gone through log, so they would get this part directly. Just see here. If you can write something like this, log 64 base 4. So can you tell me how much it would be? Like 4 raised to what power is 64? What's the answer? 3, right? So one thing you need to keep in your mind, if you segregate the two things like this 64 and 4, and both of them, and you write them with a common base, you'd still have the same answer. Is that pretty clear? Like this is one thing, 64 base 4. This can be written as log 64 by log 4 with a common base. Is that pretty clear, guys? That would be a common base. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it absolutely clear to you guys? Got the idea? So now you have this thing like how much it would be, like just to cross check. 2 raised to what power is 64? 2 raised to what power is 64? 6, right? Isn't it? Power of 2 till 10 is very important. That should be on your finger, like fingertips actually. 2 raised to what power is 64? 6. And 2 raised to what power is 4? That's 2, right? Isn't it? 6 by 2, you're still getting the same answer, 3, right? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Got this bit of idea? Got this bit of idea, guys? one more thing that is crucial. I mean, this is one thing that is crucial to answer the question. The second thing that is crucial to answer this question is this. You just see here. Log 64 base 4. What is the answer, guys? What is the answer? 3, right? Now, just see here. Just see here, guys. If you change this one, like if you change this one with the same amount and this one with the same amount, like same power, like you take the root of 64, a power half. So this would be 8. And you also take the same power, like power half or root of this base. So this is 2. Is the answer changing? Is the answer changing, guys? Is the answer changing? Right? Is it pretty clear? Like that's a very obvious thing, right? Isn't it? 4 raised to what power is 64? So 4 raised to some 3 power is 64. And if you change the 4 to half power, and if you change the 64 to half power both sides, then this 3 would still remain same, right? Is it pretty clear? Like once you know this game, you can, these two things, you can nail down this question very easily. Just see here, log 5 by just taking this side, log y is equal to log 6, log base 6 root 5. And then you use the reverse of that idea, reverse of that idea. If you use the reverse of that idea, how it would be? Log 5 base y, right? Isn't it the common base? You're canceling out. Just reverse of the first idea that I explained you, right? Isn't it log a base b is equal to log b by log a, right? Isn't it just the reverse of that idea, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? So, and this is equivalent to log 6 root 5. So now see here, root 5 and 5. What is the power? Like root 5, what power? So root 5 square. So this should also be square. So y is how much? Y is 36, right? Is it pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? So you understand this, you are true. Again, these are, I'm not taking the tougher question, like simpler questions in the CAT, but this is again still very doable. These are still very doable questions. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? These are all still very doable questions, provided you know the basics. I mean, the couple of things that I discussed now. I mean, of course, now I discussed it pretty fast and all, but other people, like all those people, for how many people the log has been done here in the session? For how many people the log has been done here? Can you guys respond? For how many people the log has been done here? Yeah, so I guess you guys must have, like these people must have got like we had discussed both the ideas, right? Isn't it? We had discussed both the ideas, right? Isn't it, guys? Yeah. So this is that rule number 4 if I talk about, and this is the additional thing that I had explained, right? Is it pretty clear? Now moving on to the next one. Moving on to the next one. Just this is again a question where, I mean, it's like the previous 2 to 3 questions that I talked about, even the log wala question, that can be solved in the mind itself. Like I mean, how do you, if I just go back to that part, I mean, it's I always want people, or if I just bring out those 3 questions again. So just see here. Or these questions can be like bearing this very question where you obviously segregate a bit of 3, 4, 5, 6. Bearing this, like obviously you know 1, 1, 3, and then you write it. You need to note a bit down in this. But bearing this, if you come to this question, you can simply think it in your mind, right? That line that I wrote, right? Isn't it 5 minus 5, 5 plus 5, 5 minus z, 5 plus z? Is it very, very, very clear? And you can add it all. You can add it all, and you can simply mark the answer 20. And similarly, in this very question as well of the log, that you can think it like this, transfer this side. So log 5 base y is log root 5, 6. And then you can straight away say 36. So, I mean, I don't think that the last 2 questions that we talked about, it would take more than 30 seconds. If you obviously know the proper ideas, right? Isn't it, guys? How many of you agree to this? How many of you agree to this? How many of you agree to this? After reading the question, it won't take more than 30, 45 seconds. Even if I think about a minute time, as I told you, even if I think about a minute time, still I'm catering. Even if I invest a minute time on these questions, I mean, bearing the first question that I discussed, minute time, still 34 into 1. So if I get 20 questions like this, at least 20 into 1 is 20 minutes I'm investing. So, I mean, that's what the thinking parts would be on the toes. I mean, you need to keep that in your mind. Okay, this very question. Okay, the moment I look at this question, if I look at this question, the first thing that hits my mind is this part, this thing. If you just note it down, would this thing ever be negative? Would this thing ever be negative? Can you tell me? Like 2 raised to, I mean, you know this, right? Isn't it? 2 raised, I mean, a raised to minus 1 is 1 by a. You know this, right, guys? Isn't it? A raised to minus 1 is 1 by a, right? Isn't it? A raised to minus 2 is 1 by a square. I hope you know this, right? Isn't it? I mean, that's the basic you need to know. Once you know that much part, just see here. If you know that much, then can I say this can be written as 2 power x plus 1 by 2 power x? Is that fine? Is that fine? Again, I mean, some of my students present over here, for them, the algebra is almost done. So they can see and understand that this is a very familiar territory, right? Is it pretty clear? This is a very familiar territory. For people who are not very familiar with this, or as well, like I'll tell you, this thing, for this very thing, the minimum value would always be, so this part would always be greater than 2. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Provided a is positive, this would always be greater than or equal to 2. The minimum value would always be 2. Is that pretty clear? I mean, just think it this way. Because we are only talking about the positive side, because this would be positive. This can't become negative, so we're only thinking about the positive part. Is that pretty clear? So just think it this way. Now, just think it this way. If you put a 1 here, in place of a, then what is this value coming out? If you put a 1 here, what is this value coming out? Everyone, guys, if you put a 1 here, what is this value coming out in place of a? 2, right? Isn't it? If you put a 2 here, what is the value coming out? 2.5, right? Isn't it? Is it very, very, very clear? So it's going now on the higher side if a is an integer. Now you might tell me that, hang on, what if a is 0.5? What if a is 0.5? You might tell me that, what if a is 0.5? Just see here. What if a is 0.5? Now, if a is 0.5, it would be simply reverse of that, right? Isn't it? Like a is 0.5 means half. If a is half, then this part would be half, and this part would be equal to 2, right? Is it pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it very, very, very clear to everyone, guys? Is it perfectly clear? Is it absolutely clear to everyone? Is that bit perfectly clear to everyone, guys? Now you understand this much. Then once you understand this much, that this part, like 2 power x plus 1 by 2 power x, this part would always be greater than, or this part would always be greater than or equal to 2, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Is it absolutely clear to everyone, guys? Is this bit perfectly clear to everyone, guys? And what about this thing? What would be the minimum value for x minus 2 whole square? What would be the minimum value for x minus 2 whole square? Anything that is in square, what would be the minimum value for it? What would be the minimum value for it? Anything that is in square, the minimum value would be 0. Keep this in mind. Anything that is in square, the minimum value would be 0. So this part would always be greater than equal to 0, right? Isn't it? If I just rewrite it, just see here, this part would always be greater than or equal to 0, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it very, very, very clear, guys? Is it perfectly clear? Got it? So when this part is 0, what is the RHS? When this x minus 2 whole square is 0, what is the RHS? What is the RHS? 2, right? Isn't it? 2. When this part is 1, it would always be greater than equal to 0. So when this part is 1, the what would be the RHS? What would be the RHS? 1. When this part is 7, what is the RHS? What is the RHS? 7, what is the RHS? RHS, guys, everyone, minus 5. So this LHS, if you look at the number line, the LHS is like number line, the LHS is always more than 2, and the RHS is always less than 2. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Is that perfectly clear to everyone, guys? Is that part perfectly clear to everyone? Is it very, very, very clear to everyone, guys? Is it perfectly clear to everyone, guys? Now the only place where it can coincide. Okay, not clear. Fine. I unmute on screen. Unmute yourself, Dhruvik. Yeah. Am I audible, Dhruvik?
Yes.
Yeah. So you understood that anything that is of this form would always be greater than 2, equal to 2?
Yes.
This thing would always be, because anything of this form, now forget about this x minus 2 whole square, I'm not even bothered about that. Anything of this form. So a square would always be, this a square would always be greater than equal to 0, right?
Yes.
If a square is always greater than equal to 0, so as the a square increases, the entire thing would keep on decreasing, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it? Got it, right? Isn't it? So the a square lowest can be 0, right? Isn't it? Then it can become 1, that it can become 2, it can become 3. And as this happens, this value would keep on, this output would keep on decreasing, right? Isn't it? Got the idea, right? Decreasing from 2, right?
Yes, got it.
So this would be, this RHS would always be greater than 2, LHS would always be less than 2. So once you get that, you are through this question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ready, got it.
Yeah. Is that part pretty clear to everyone, guys? Is that part pretty clear to everyone, guys? So I mean, that's again the hang of it. Like once you get that part, like obviously, once you're done with the preparation of CAT and stuff like that, this part should hit your mind straight away. This part would hit your mind straight away. This a plus 1 by a should hit your mind straight away. This part should hit your mind straight away. So that once that only place that it would coincide is 2. The only place they would coincide is 2. But that is where it won't work. That is very, very, very silly doubt to ask, because the only place, because this thing would be 2 when it's 0, right? Is it very, very, very clear? When x is 0, and when x is 0, this part is not becoming 2, right? Isn't it? Like x minus 2 whole square, this is coming something in negative, right? Minus 2. So there are no solutions for it. Is it pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Is that bit perfectly clear? I mean, that's a very, very, very silly thing to ask. I mean, greater than 2, less than 2. So nowhere it's coinciding. That is one thing you can keep in your mind. So obviously, again, this question, I mean, anyone who is really good at it, he would look at this, he would think that this would be going greater than 2. Anyone who is looking at this would realize that this is going less than, greater than equal to 2, less than equal to 2, and you would be through this question. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Got the idea? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Is it? It's like thinking like this, that A is equal to B. B is always greater than, B is always less than equal to 2. A is always greater than equal to 2. So only place where A and B can coincide is 2, right? Is it pretty clear? Once you get that, you are through. I hope that part is clear. Now, this very question. Now, this is a question like where if you write a few things, I mean, just the initial part, if you write just the initial part, then life becomes easier. I mean, A, B, C, B, three positive integers such that sum of A and mean of B and C is 5. Okay, fine. So just write it. I'm against completely against solving variables. So I won't solve it. In addition, the sum of B and the mean of A and C is 7. Okay. So what is the difference between these two things? Can you tell me, guys? What is the difference between these two things? What is the difference between these two things? Can you tell me? What is the difference between these two things? What is that? Everyone, jaldi. Everyone, guys, make it fast. What is the difference between these two things? 2, right? Is that pretty clear? 2 is the difference here. 2 is that no. Don't look at that part. Don't look at it that way. Don't look at it that way. Value-wise, what's the difference? Value-wise, what's the difference in these two things? Value-wise, what is the difference in these two things? Value-wise, what is the difference? That's simply 2, right? Is it pretty clear? And variable-wise, what's the difference? Variable-wise, what's the difference? Let's look at it now. सब A का हाफ, B का हाफ, C का हाफ ऊपर भी है, नीचे भी A का हाफ, B का हाफ और C का हाफ है, right? Is it very clear? Is it very clear? Got the idea? ऊपर भी A का हाफ, like if you can just visualize it. I visualized it personally. If you can visualize this, तो ऊपर नीचे दोनों में A का हाफ, B का हाफ और C का हाफ कॉमन है, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very clear? Did you realize that? ऊपर नीचे दोनों में A का हाफ, B का हाफ और C का हाफ कॉमन है. I personally visualized it. If you also can visualize it, then you can nail down this question in like what 45 seconds. तो A का हाफ, B का हाफ और C का हाफ कॉमन है, तो O कोई डिफरेंस क्रिएट नहीं कर पाएगा, राइट? isn't it? तो इस तीनों को छोड़ के ऊपर में क्या एक्स्ट्रा है? इस तीनों को छोड़ के A का हाफ, B का हाफ और C का हाफ छोड़ के ऊपर वाला चीज में क्या एक्स्ट्रा है? A का हाफ, राइट? Is it very clear? Is it very clear? And नीचे में क्या एक्स्ट्रा है? B का हाफ, right? Is it very clear? So if I can simply say that if I subtract B का हाफ and A का हाफ, उनका डिफरेंस के चलते ये 2 आया. Is it very clear? Is it very clear? B minus A would be equal to 4. Is it perfectly clear? I need to find out the sum. Let me get into A, B, C are 3 positive integers. I'm getting into the possibilities now. B minus A, the first possibility is this is 1, this is 5. Is it very clear? Is it perfectly clear? So A plus B is what? A plus B is how much? A plus B is how much? 6, right? Is it very clear? Got the idea? I can look at the other possibility as well, 2 and 6. But if I look at the other possibility, then the sum is 8. That is not present in the option. Is it very clear? उसके बाद बढ़ते ही जाएगा. Is it very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Got the idea? Is it absolutely clear? So it's about how your thinking goes. Like I looked at the 2 questions. I didn't get into subtraction and all. I mean, you can subtract the 2 things, but I just saw that कि यहाँ पे A का हाफ, B का हाफ और C का हाफ is common. यहाँ पे भी A का हाफ, B का हाफ and C का हाफ is common. So the only difference in terms of value is 2, and in terms of variable, it's like this. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very clear? Is it perfectly clear? I hope that part is clear. So it's about, I mean, again, it's that way. If I think that it just puts a bit less pressure on my mind. Just see here again this very question. The mean of the natural numbers, 4-digit even natural numbers. Even natural numbers. The moment I read this even natural numbers, this BB would be 00, 22, 44, 55, and I mean, and double. Sorry, what I'm writing, 66, 88. Right? Is it pretty clear? Got the idea? Is it very clear? Or I can say that B would vary from 0 to 4, 6, 8. Is it pretty clear? Got it? Got it? Just see here, A is like 4-digit even natural number. So if A is a 4-digit number, A can't be 0, right? Isn't it? I mean, that's obvious, but even if it's not given, that's fine, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very clear? Even if it's not given, it's still fine. Is it pretty clear to self-realization? So this would be varying from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, if you know one thing, the game is over here. If you know one thing, the game is over. If you look at an arithmetic progression, just see here, if you look at an arithmetic progression, if there are odd number of terms, in an arithmetic progression there are odd number of terms, then there would be a middle term, right? Isn't it? Isn't it? Like just think the odd number of people standing, right? Isn't it? If there are Ram, Syam, and Ghanshyam are standing, right? Then there would be a middle guy, right? Isn't it? Is it very clear? Got it? And in an arithmetic progression, if the things are in arithmetic progression, the middle term is always the average. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very clear? The middle term is always the average. Is that pretty clear? Is it very clear? Is it very clear? So the middle term is always the average. So what would be the average of B? Both the case it's an AP and both the case have got odd number of terms. So what is the average of B? 4. What is the average of A? 5. B would be pretty simple. 5, 5, 4, 4. Mark it, move add. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very clear? Mark it, move add. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very clear? Perfectly clear. So again, these sort of questions again, they are, I mean, obviously your basics and all should be very strong. Your basics and all should be very strong. And once that is strong, you would be like running through this question, or even, I mean, most of the questions that we are seeing, they just need sort of a better basics, nothing else. Just see here again this very question. This is a profit and loss question. A lot of people would tell me that I have to use allegation in this. Allegation is obviously the thing that you should use, or I'm not saying should is like too much of support towards allegation. I won't say should. I mean, it would be slightly faster or slightly easier if you use allegation. But even if you don't use allegation, you can still solve the question with equal amount of easiness. Is that pretty clear, guys? Remember, I told you about the easiness, right? Is it very clear? I told you about at what ease you are. Even if the allegation thing doesn't strike you, I mean, you can solve it with equal amount of easiness. Just see here. Just pay attention over here. I mean, to start with, I won't consider these two zeros. I mean, desktop plus laptop is 500. I must have solved this question for some of my students. So just see here, he sold the desktop at 20% profit and laptop at 10% loss, right? Is that pretty clear? I mean, मैं बहुत ज़्यादा detailing में नहीं जाऊँगा with running sort of time, so I won't get into a lot of detailing. So just think that कि laptop को भी 20% profit में बेचा. Is it very clear? Is it perfectly clear, guys? Just have this thinking. Is that pretty clear? Once you have this thinking, क्या मैं बोल सकता हूँ कि ओवरऑल 500 रुपए में 20% का प्रॉफिट हुआ बोल के? क्योंकि डेस्कटॉप में भी 20% का प्रॉफिट हो रहा है, लैपटॉप में भी 20% का प्रॉफिट हो रहा है. सो कैन आई से दैट कि ओवरऑल 500 रुपए में 20% का प्रॉफिट हो रहा है? कैन आई से दैट? Can I say that? Everyone guys, make it fast. Once you have that, you can say that 20% का profit is equivalent to how much? 20% का profit is equivalent to how much? Like 500 पे 20% का profit, 500 में 20% कितना होगा? 500 पे 20% would be how much? Everyone guys, 500 पे 20% would be how much? 100, right? Isn't it? This is a 100 profit. प्रॉफिट 100 का हो रहा है बोल के मेरे assumption के हिसाब से निकल रहा है, बट एक्चुअल में कितना का प्रॉफिट हो रहा है? 2% का ही प्रॉफिट हो रहा है 500 पे, राइट? इज इट वेरी क्लियर? एक्चुअल में 2% का ही प्रॉफिट हो रहा है. 2% मतलब कितना? 1% 5 होगा, 2% 10 होगा. इज इट वेरी क्लियर? तो एक्चुअल में 10 रुपए का प्रॉफिट हो रहा है, मेरे assumption के हिसाब से 100 रुपए का प्रॉफिट आ रहा है, तो मेरा कितना एक्स्ट्रा प्रॉफिट आ गया? कितना एक्स्ट्रा assumption आ गया? कितना रुपए का एक्स्ट्रा assumption आ गया? 90 रुपए का, राइट? इज इट वेरी क्लियर? गॉट इट? वो किस रीजन के लिए आया? बिकॉज लैपटॉप का 10% लॉस के जगह पे मैंने 20% प्रॉफिट सोचा, राइट? इज इट प्रीटी क्लियर? इज इट वेरी क्लियर? इज इट वेरी क्लियर? व्हाट द आइडिया? इज इट वेरी क्लियर? 10% लॉस के जगह पे 20% प्रॉफिट सोचा. So that is a difference of 30%. Don't make it a difference of 10%. 10% loss के जगह पे मैंने 20% का profit सोचा. So that's a difference of 30%. So 30% of whatever the laptop is 90. Of laptop is 90. Laptop is 1% is 3. Laptop is equal to 1% is equal to 3. So 100% is 300. Is that pretty clear? So laptop is 300, desktop would be 200 because total is 500, 200 and 2 zeros, 20,000. Is that pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear to everyone, guys? So, I mean, even if you don't use allegation, this is still pretty fine a work for your brain. I mean, it doesn't put a lot on your brain. Is that pretty clear? I mean, I'm not at all thinking about the timings here. Is it very, very, very clear? If you can simply think it like this, it doesn't put a lot in your brain. Is that pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? I mean, मैं यहाँ पे जो deviation वाला idea use किया, whatever idea used in deviation, allegation is nothing but the same thing. Allegation is nothing but the same thing. But I mean, with allegation, of course, this becomes a slightly customized technique and stuff, but it's still fine. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? With allegation, it would become like this. I mean, no, wonderful thing, wonderful technique actually. But with 20% profit, 10% loss को अगर profit में लिखूंगा तो कैसे लिखूंगा? Minus 10% profit, right? Isn't it? Right? Isn't it, guys? Is it pretty clear? Minus 10% profit, right? Is it pretty clear? 20% profit, 10% loss को अगर मैं profit में बताना चाहूंगा तो minus 10% profit, and this is a 2% profit. So you can just look at the gap. You can just look at the gap here, and once you look at the gap, that becomes pretty easy. Its overall profit is a 2%. So you can do the allegation, but I'm not getting into that part as now. Is that pretty clear, guys? Fine. Just look at this, a few more things. I mean, once you do that, you would be like, this is 12, this is 18, 2:3, 2:3, and 500 divided in the ratio 2:3. That's 200 and 300. That's a good thing, but it's fine. Just focus here. Few more questions to look at. Okay, I mean, this question, this is again looks complicated if you are, I mean, it's like looks complicated if you can just understand this, like एक basic चीज से मैं चालू करता हूँ. I mean, I'd go back to that question, but let me start it from a basic thing. If a plus b plus c is equal to 9, if a plus b plus c is equal to 9, then can I say that like when they all would have the lowest possible value, when they all would have the lowest possible value, like I can do this like 009, but इसमें हो क्या रहा है? A और B तो lowest possible पे चले गए, लेकिन क्या C अपना lowest possible पे जा पाया? C अपना lowest possible पे जा पाया? नहीं, right? Isn't it? Is it very, very, very clear? So if they have to be at their, all of them have to be at their lowest possible at the same time. All of them have to be at the lowest possible at the same time. Then what is, they have to be equalized, right? Is it very, very, very clear? They all have to be equalized. Is that pretty clear? I mean, once you understand this game, the game is over. Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? So if I tell you something like this, I mean, I put 5 items, or let me take a bit more item. I mean, let me take 7 items. ठीक है, 7 चीजें हैं. A plus B plus C plus D plus E plus F plus G. 7 items, and the sum is equal to 70. So what is the lowest possible of each one? What is the lowest possible? Like, what is that value where each one would be at their lowest possible? What is that value where each one would be at their lowest possible, guys? Like, there are 7 items. So quick enough, what would be that value where each one would be at their lowest possible? Once you give the answer, we move forward. 10, right? Isn't it? Is it pretty clear? Now just see here. I mean, no, just see here. एक चीज दिमाग में रखो कि you have to, like, among 100 students, X1 have got their birthday in January, X2 have got their birthday in February, and so on. So X1 plus X2 plus X3 till that nth guy, I mean X12, till the X12, 12 entities are there. Their sum would be equal to 100 students, right? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Is it perfectly clear? And x0 is what? X0 is nothing but the x0 as an output is the maximum of all these value. X0 as an output is the maximum, right? Is it very, very, very clear? Like if the values are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 12 or 14 for that reason. So x0 kya hoga? X0 is the maximum of x0 equal to max of this. So x0 would be equal to what, guys? X0 would be equal to what, everyone? X0 would be equal to what in this case, everyone? The max of these. So 14, right? Isn't it? Got it. So you have to ensure that x0, that is a maximum of these is at the smallest possible position, right? Is it smallest possible position? So I need to ensure that each one takes their smallest value, right? Is it very, very, very clear? All are at the smallest possible situation at the same time. Can I say this, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Can I say this? Can I say this? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? So each one would have the smallest possible thing when they're equally distributed. So 100 equally distributed among 12 people. How much it would be? How much it would be? 12 8s are 96. So 8 point something, right? Isn't it? They would be taking 8 point something, right? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it very, very, very clear? They would be taking 8 point something. Got it? Got the idea? So if they are taking 8 point something, then smallest possible value of x0, like 8 point something, matlab kya? 1 can be taken to the integer, right? Is it very, very, very clear? So what is the highest integer post that? What is the highest integer? What is the next integer? You can't have 8 point something. So the smallest possible value can't be 8. So 9, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear, guys? Is that bit perfectly clear? I hope that bit is perfectly clear, right? Is that part perfectly clear? So now, again, let's move on to one more. Okay, hang on. This question, it's good. I mean, easy question. मेरे को बताओ ये 1 कब होगा? What are the 3 situations for this should be equal to 1? One situation is obviously A agar 1 ho gaya to, right? Isn't it? A agar 1 ho gaya with B being anything doesn't matter, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? With B being anything that doesn't matter, right? Is it pretty clear? That doesn't matter. I don't give a damn to it. दूसरा situation है A is anything, B is equal to 0, right? The other situation. And the third thing is, the third thing kya hoga? Can anyone say me the third thing? Is there any third thing? Is there any third thing? Can I say A equal to -1 and B is even? B is even. Can I say this? Can I say this, guys? Can I say this? So once you know these 3 things, don't miss out on the possibilities. Don't miss out on the possibilities. You are absolutely through the game. You are absolutely through the game. Then it becomes pretty easy. It's nothing but solving the quadratic equation. Don't look at it this way. I mean, the only advice I would give you, like A is equal to 1 is the first thing, with B being anything. So I'm not really bothered about it, this being 1. So this is like plus 10. The other one would be A is equal to anything, B equal to 0. So this would be x square minus 13x plus 42 equal to 0. This is one more quadratic equation. And the third one is A equal to -1. A equal to -1. A equal to -1. That's when, and then B should be equal to even. So x square plus, again, x square plus 11x, 7x, sorry, x square minus 7x. Minus 7x plus 11 is equal to -1. So these are the 3 quadratic equation you have to solve. Is that pretty clear, guys? I mean, I have explained how do you solve the quadratic equation pretty easily. I've explained, right? Isn't it, guys? I've explained how do you solve the quadratic equation pretty easily. I've explained that part. You just need to think of 2 numbers. Like some of my students present over here, I mean, You just have to think of two numbers whose sum is equal to -7 and product is equal to 10. So can you tell me two numbers? Can you tell me two numbers? Sum is equal to -7, product is equal to 10. Can you tell me, everyone? Two numbers. No, not 5 and 2. Not 5 and 2. Sum should be -7, right? Sum should be -7, right? Sum should be -7. Be careful about it. So -5 and -2, and then transfer them to the other side. The roots are 5 and 2. The roots are 5 and 2. The roots are 5 and 2. If you solve this one, can you tell me two numbers whose sum is equal to -13 and product is equal to 42? -13 and 42, -7 and -6. Again, then transfer them to the other side. The roots are 7 and 6. I tell you why I'm finding it out. I could have straight away marked 6, but why I'm finding it out? Because sometimes it might happen that the roots might coincide. Is that pretty clear, guys? Because he's asking distinct, right? If the roots might coincide and you mark a wrong answer, you are gone, right? Is it pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Is it very, very, very clear? And -7x plus 12, because the -1 would come. So now tell me two numbers. So the -3 and -4. Sum is -7 and then 3 and 4, right? Isn't nothing is coinciding each other. You can mark 6 and move back. Is it pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Is that absolutely clear to everyone, guys? Slightly not tough question. I mean, this again is very solvable. These questions are very solvable. These are all very solvable questions. I mean, of course, you are giving CAT, so you should realize that a power b is equal to 1, and what can be the possibilities, various possibilities. This very question. Now, this a solid right circular cone of height 27 centimeter into two pieces. Okay, fine. Okay. Just let me read the question in which way. A solid right circular cone of height 27 cm is cut into two pieces along a plane parallel to its base at a height of 18 cm from the base. Okay. So this is a cone. He's cutting it at here. I mean, this entire is 27. He's cutting it. This height is 18. If the difference in the volume of the two pieces is 25 centimeter cube, the volume in cc of the original cone. Okay, fine. I mean, this part volume is saying is 225 centimeter cube. That is fine, not an issue. Okay, cool, not bad. Now again, a very fairly simple question, provided you know the idea of similarity. Similarity doesn't mean that you need to go into what has been taught in your CBSE or something like that. Okay, I mean, see, similarity is about ratio. Can I say 1/2 is similar to 3/6? Can I say this? Can I say that 1/2 is similar to 3/6? Can I say this? Yeah. Why I can say this? Why I can say that? And this is also similar to 100/200, right? Isn't it? Because if you compare everything here, then in this case, both the numerator and denominator, first case, the numerator and denominator are getting multiplied by 3. Second case, it's getting multiplied by 100, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Got it? Is it perfectly clear? So idea of similarity comes from the multiplication. Like you cannot say that. I mean, a lot of people might think it this way, that 1/2 is equal to 3/6. With the addition part, it cannot be similar. Like you cannot say this is +2 and this is +2. That is not possible, because this +2 and +2 can't be cancelled out. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Is that dead clear to everyone, guys? So when you look at the idea of similarity, can I say, when you have two similar figures, when you are wanting to make two similar figures, I sum up similarity. In fact, I can teach you similarity and congruency in like now only it would be over for once and for all, the debate of similarity and congruence and whatever it is. So just see here. I mean, if there are three sides, if there are three sides, if there are three sides, A, B, C, then the outer one would be similar. Outer one would be similar if each of the corresponding side are at the same multiplying factor. Like if this one is becoming 3 times, so this side would also become 3 times, and this side would also become 3 times. Is that pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? How many of you are dead clear with this, guys? Is it perfectly clear? Is it very, very, very clear? If each pair of corresponding sides are at the same ratio, each pair of corresponding sides are at same ratio, then they are known as similar figures, right? Is it very, very, very clear? Similarities as an idea is not restricted to only triangles. It can be to anything. It can be for a quadrilateral as well, right? Is it very, very, very clear? It can be for a quadrilateral as well. Is that pretty clear? Is it absolutely clear, guys? Is it perfectly clear? Is that bit perfectly clear? Now, no. Just see here. I mean, if you look at the idea of similarity here, I mean, just see here. If the ratio is anything, it can be any ratio, right? Corresponding sign can be in any ratio. If the corresponding sides are in this ratio, any which way, the angles are equal, right? Isn't it? The angles here are equal. The angles here are equal, right? Isn't it? This is increasing, this is increasing. So this angle is equal, right? Isn't it? If you draw an angle like this and draw an angle like this, they would be equal, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Because if you pull them, the vertex would coincide, right? Is it pretty clear? I hope you understood that. Is it pretty clear to you guys? The angle is not changing. If the similarity wala ratio is 1:1, then what you can say? If the similarity wala ratio is 1:1, what you can say about the two figures? If the ratio is 1:1, if it is anything, it is fine. If it is 1:1, what you can say? Can you say they are coinciding? Can you say they are coinciding? So can you say they are coinciding? Once you say they are coinciding, they are congruent figures, right? Isn't it? So congruency is nothing but a special case of similarity. Is that pretty clear, guys? Congruency is nothing but a special case of similarity. Is that pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear where the ratios are 1:1? Is that pretty clear? I mean, they are not two different ideas. It's a special case of similarity. Once you understand that, I mean, this is a bit off topic about nothing to know. हाँ, एक और चीज बताता हूं इसमें. Just keep in mind one thing. Not only the sides, but any 1D thing would follow the any corresponding 1D thing. Like any corresponding 1D thing, मतलब अगर तुम height of the triangle के बारे में बात कर रहे हो तो height भी 1:3 के रेशियो में होगा. Is that pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? अगर तुम लोग angle bisector के बारे में बात कर रहे हो तो any 1D thing would be of the same ratio as the corresponding sides. Is that pretty clear? That's called similarity. Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear, guys? Any 1D thing. 1D thing मतलब क्या? 1D thing मतलब it's like anything that you can express in meter. Anything that you can express in meter. Is it pretty clear? Anything that you can express in meter is 1D. Anything that you can express in meter square is 2D. Anything that you can express in meter cube is 3D. Is that pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? So area undergoes 2D. Volume undergoes 3D. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is that bit pretty clear to everyone, guys? Is it perfectly clear? Is that part perfectly clear? Now that you know this, now that you know this part, then this question becomes pretty easy. I mean, this is all. I mean, can't get too much of detailing into it. Like you don't have time for it. Just see here. If you look at this, the two figures. If I make, I'm making the two cones. If you make the two cones, now just pay attention over here. So can you say that? I mean, this cone, this triangle. Look at this triangle. Okay, look at these two triangles, AOB and ACD. AOB and ACD. These two triangles. Are these two triangles similar triangles? Are these two triangles similar triangles? Because the angles are same, the angles are equal, all the angles are equal. So all the angles are equal. So these two are similar. Once these two are similar, what is the ratio of their sides? Like this part, this entirely. Like if you just look at the height, this is 27. This guy's height is how much? If this below one is 18, then the upper guy's height is how much? 9, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? So now, once you know that part, it's 1:3, right? Is that pretty clear? It's 1:3. Is that pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? I mean, 1:3 is the ratio of their 1:3 is the ratio of their sides. You have the ratio of the sides. So volume around ratio would be how much? volume around ratio would be how much? The cube of it, right? Isn't it? The volume ratio would be how much? The volume ratio would be how much, guys? 1:27, right? The volume ratio would be 1:27. Once the volume ratio is 1:27, this is 1. This entire volume is 27. This entire volume, if this volume is 1 unit, I mean, small cone's volume is 1 unit, then the larger cone volume is 27 units. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Is it absolutely clear to you guys? Now just see here. I mean, this is very, very, very easy to realize that if the volume ratio should be 1:27, and you read the question. What I would do now is that 27 unit, the volume ratio is 27 unit. So can I say whatever is the volume, that's a whole number. So that would be divisible by 27. Can I say this, guys? Can I say this, guys? Whatever is the volume that would be divisible by 27. Can I say this? Can I say this? Everyone, guys. I mean, that would be divisible by 27. If it is divisible by 27, it should be divisible by 9, right? It should be divisible by 9, right? Is it pretty clear? If divisible by 27 means it should be divisible by 9, right? It's not a smaller number. So anything that has got a sum up digit, like 9 ka divisibility rule kya hota hai? Sum up digit hota hai, right? Isn't it? So here the sum up digit is 12, not divisible. Here the sum up digit is how much? Sum up digit is how much? 7, not divisible. Here the sum up digit is 9, divisible. Here the sum up digit is how much? 13, not divisible. So this is the only answer. Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? I mean, read the question. You would be able to realize straight away 1:27 is the ratio of the volume. When you realize it's 27 units, 27 units is 243. That's a straightforward answer. Obviously, you are, whatever I'm explaining now, you're not getting into those bit of explanations, right? Isn't it? You're not getting into those bit of explanations, right? And that's what you need to understand. Is it very, very, very clear? Like what should be happening in your mind is, you must have obviously studied this part, right? So come back, you read this. This is, you know that this height is 9, upper cone height is 9, the entire cone height is 27. 1:3 is the height ratio. Volume ratio is 1:27. So this should be 27 unit. 27 units is 243. You are doing this much only. You're not doing anything more. You're not doing anything more. Is that pretty clear? Anything more you do, you are out of the game. If you're targeting 100 percentile in quant, anything more you do, you are out of the game. If you're targeting more than sort of what 100 percentile in quant. So that is one thing you need to keep in your mind. Now let's look at a few more questions to go about. Okay, this very question again. These are all simple thought process question. I mean, you have to have very, very, very simple thought process to crack these questions. And agar main ek cheez bolu tum log ko, just tell me this answer, because some people are done with time and distance, some people are not done. So I mean, if they are going towards each other, then in an hour they are coming how close to each other? Can you tell me? In an hour they are coming how close to each other? Because this is the gap between them. In an hour they are coming how close to each other, guys? Can you tell me? I mean, this is a very, very, very simplistic idea. I mean, this is as simple as it can get. 7 kilometers close to each other, right? Isn't it? Got it, right? Isn't it? If the gap between them is 70 kilometers, in how many hours they can catch up? If the gap between them is 70 kilometers, in how many hours they can catch up? So that's the very simplistic idea. I mean, I would use that idea only. So the gap was initially 90. The gap was initially 90, but the train A, जब train B चालू होता है, like A and B are two railway station 90 km per hour. A train starts at 9 a.m. At 40 km per hour, and the other train starts at 10:30 a.m. So 1 hour 30 minutes afterwards. And at the speed of 20 km per hour, the train meet each other at what time? Okay, so by the time it's 10:30 a.m., by the time the second train starts, or 10:30 a.m., the first train had traveled for 1.5 hours, right? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it very, very, very clear, guys? It's traveled for 1.5 hours. So what is the distance it must have gone at 40 km per hour? 1.5 hours, so 40 km and then 20 more kilometer, right? Isn't it? 1 hour, 40 km, 60 km. So when it has come like 90 kilometers or 60 kilometer cover kar diya. So when the other train is starting, can I say the gap between them is 30 kilometers? When the second train is starting, the gap between them is 30 kilometers. Can I say this? Once you understand this, the game is over. So here it is 40 km per hour. The train is going at this speed. One other train is coming at 20 km per hour this way. So they are coming how close to each other in an hour? How close to each other in an hour? In an hour, guys. How much close they are coming to each other in an hour? How much close they are coming in an hour? Everyone, 60 kilometer they are coming close by an hour. So to meet, if they have to come by 30 kilometer only, so how many hours they would take to meet? How many hours they would take to meet? This is very simplistic. Half an hour, 0.5 hour, half an hour. So that's 30 minutes. Add 30 minutes, 10:30 a.m. And then a 30 minutes more after 10:30. The answer is 11. Right? It's a pretty simplistic idea, right? Is it very, very, very clear? It's perfectly clear. Got it? Is it pretty clear? You can just visualize these figures. Like what happens is if you can visualize the figures, then you don't need to draw anything. Once you don't need to draw anything, it automatically becomes slightly quicker, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? This question is again, I mean, Cat has been repeating this for a while now. I mean, for quite a while, the Cat is repeating this question now. And I'm almost very, very, I mean, sort of tired of solving this. Just look at this. I'm rewriting the question. Okay. Let me rewrite the question this way. That there is a class, and then in a class there is one boy and 3 girls. Okay, is that pretty clear, guys? One boy and 3 girls. And now just think here with the average weight, or make it this way, one boy and 3 girls, and the strength of the class is increased or doubled by adding boys. So how many boys are added? तो डबल मतलब कितने लोग हो गए? पहले 4 थे, अभी कितने हो गए? अभी कितने हो गए? पहले बताओ. 8 हो गए. मतलब कितनी, और ओनली बॉयज यूज किया गया, by adding boys only. So कितने लड़के यूज किए गए? कितने लड़के यूज किए गए? So अभी क्लास में नया कॉन्फ़िगरेशन बॉयज और गर्ल्स का क्या हो जाएगा? क्लास में नया कॉन्फ़िगरेशन बॉयज और गर्ल्स का क्या हो जाएगा? नया कॉन्फ़िगरेशन क्या हो जाएगा? 5 boys and 3 girls, right? Is it pretty clear? I mean, once you crack this, realize this, the game is over. And the average weight of the class is equal to 72 kg, and average weight of boys is 60 kg. What is the weight of girl? What is the average weight of girl? What is the average weight of girls? So 8 लड़कों का क्लास का एवरेज वेट अगर 72 है, तो क्लास का टोटल वेट कितना है? 8 लड़कों का वेट अगर लाइक एवरेज वेट 72, तो क्लास का टोटल वेट कितना है? 576, राइट? इज इट प्रीटी क्लियर, गाइस? इज इट वेरी 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 क्लियर? इज इट परफेक्टली क्लियर? इज इट परफेक्टली क्लियर? 5 बॉयज का एवरेज वेट अगर 60 है, तो टोटल वेट बॉयज की तरफ से कितना आ रहा है? टोटल वेट बॉयज की तरफ से कितना आ रहा है? 300 आ रहा है. तो टोटल वेट 576 है, जिसमें से 300 बॉयज की तरफ से आ रहा है. तो गर्ल्स की तरफ से कितना आएगा? गर्ल्स की तरफ से कितना आएगा? 276 आएगा. 3 girls 276. So per girl is how much? 3 girl 276 per girl would be how much? 92. That's it. Game over. Is that pretty clear? I mean, this is a repeat telecast of this question. I mean, just nothing but a repeat telecast of this question. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very? We don't need to get into allegation that, I mean, we can get into allegation, but it's not needed. We can definitely solve using allegation, but why would you get into allegation for this? It is not absolutely needed for this. You're just taking it as 4 people. You're just taking it as, I mean, this is something for which I won't even use pen and paper. I would simply do 8 into, I know 8 into 72. I would simply do, that is 300. That is easily calculatable. So 276 by 8 by 3, and that is pretty easily solvable. So I mean, allegation is, we can of course use allegation, but that is not needed. Definitely you can use allegation. There is no question about it. I mean, this is a question of mixtures and allegation. That's why people mostly look at it like that, but this is averages. 2019, a similar question was there. I mean, I don't have time to discuss it now, but had I had time, so I would have discussed it. I mean, pretty simple. Okay, this question, I mean, just see here. I mean, if you can have a brief idea about this, like, 2x plus 3y अगर एक चीज है, और या फिर मैं कोई रैंडम चीज 2x plus 3y लिखता हूं, चलो 2x plus 3y अगर एक चीज है दैट इज इक्वल टू 7 एंड 4x plus 6y is equal to 13. तो ये दो लाइंस, these two lines, I mean these two lines, if you look at them, they are having the same LHS, right? Isn't it? Like LHS, we can bring the same thing, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very clear? I mean, we can rewrite this as 2x plus 3y is equal to 13 by 2, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Is that part perfectly clear? Is it very clear? Got it? So, I mean, now the moment this happens, this line also has got the same LHS, like 2x plus 3y is equal to 7. 2x plus 3y is also equal to 13 by 2 or 6.5. That is sort of not possible. Or these two lines will be parallel, right? Is it very clear? These two lines will be parallel. Is that pretty clear, right? I mean, that is sort of not possible. Not possible for these two lines to intersect. Is that pretty clear, guys? That is sort of not possible for these two lines to intersect. Is it very clear? So once you realize that part, this game is over. I mean, these two lines would not intersect. Why? Because the ratio, if you look at the coefficient ratio here, they are same, right? Isn't it? Like 2 by 4 and 3 by 6 are same. So as long as the coefficient ratio of A and B, or X and Y in this case, is same, they won't intersect. I mean, this bit, so you can't say that in order for them to intersect or have unique solution, what should happen? K and 4 should not be equal to, K and 4 ratio should not be equal to 1 by K. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very clear? I mean, if you look at the coefficient of X is K, and if you look at the coefficient of X here is 4, they should not be equal, right? Once the moment they are equal, we can write it in this configuration. Obviously would be parallel. So now that is easy. Should not be equal to, K square should not be equal to what? 4, not be equal to 4. So K should not be equal to what? Plus or minus 2. Is that pretty clear, guys? K should not be equal to plus or minus 2, right? Isn't it? So which one is attributing the same thing? K should not be equal to plus or minus 2, the modulus thing, right? Isn't it? The modulus thing, right? Isn't it? Is it very clear? Is it perfectly clear? I mean, if you know the modulus, what is the meaning of modulus? So modulus में जो भी डालेंगे उसका output positive आएगा. तो mod k is equal to 2 मतलब k can be called as plus or minus 2, right? Is it very clear? Is it very clear? So if similarly, if mod k is not equal to 2 means k is not equal to plus or minus 2. So that is one thing, so you can mark it and move it. Don't be careful and don't mark this. I mean, a lot of people would end up marking this and they would miss out on this prospect. So be careful about that. So this is, I mean, obviously this is something you would be learning in equations. So obviously that's not a part or matter of concern or something like that. Again, this very question, I mean, these are the questions which actually looks complicated. I mean, they look complicated, but they are not complicated. If you have done the right sort of preparation, then they don't look complicated. I mean, people might say that this is very difficult to draw or something like that. Agar you have actually understood things from the basics, agar y equal to mod x का मेरे को एक graph बनाना है, just pay attention over here. If I have to draw a graph of y equal to mod x, the most basic thing that you need to understand is y equal to mod x मतलब क्या? x चाहे पॉजिटिव हो जाए या नेगेटिव हो जाए, y हमेशा पॉजिटिव होगा, राइट? Is it very clear? Is it very clear? Is it perfectly clear, guys? Is it absolutely clear? X चाहे, I mean, obviously we have not studied graphs so far, but x चाहे पॉजिटिव या नेगेटिव हो जाए, y हमेशा पॉजिटिव होगा, right? Is it very clear? So now tell me one thing. Like अगर x का वैल्यू 1 डाल रहे हो तो y 1 आएगा, x का वैल्यू 2 डाल रहे हो तो y 2 आ रहा है, और अगर x का वैल्यू -1 डाल रहे हो तब भी y 1 आ रहा है, -2 डाल रहे हो तब भी 2, और -2 डाल रहे हो तब भी 2 आ रहा है. So this graph, I mean 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, वैसा ग्राफ तो ऐसे लगेगा, right? Is it pretty clear? This is how it would look. This is how it would look, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very clear? This is how it would look. And -1, 1, so x can be -1, y has to be 1. So this graph would look like this, right? It's very, very, very clear. Like the graph would look like this. Like this is the graph of y equal to mod x. I mean, this is a graph of y equal to mod x. Now this thing, I mean, just see here. I mean, मैं दो तीन चीज अलग करके यहाँ पे बताता हूँ, फिर एक साथ उसको क्लब करेंगे. I'm just explaining one thing. Y equal to mod x का ग्राफ ये होगा. Forget about the I mean this part of this question. अगर मैं तुमको बोला, how many of you are pretty clear that y equal to mod x would have this graph, guys? How many of you are very, very, very clear that y equal to mod x would have this graph? How many of you are very, very, very clear? I mean, that's the graph of y equal to mod x. I mean, x can be positive or negative. X can be on the left or right, but y would always be on the top. Cannot be negative. Now just see here. अगर mod x plus 2 का ग्राफ में बनाने बोला, ठीक है, mod x plus 2 का ग्राफ में बनाने बोला, तो just see here, x का वही इनपुट के लिए, x का वही इनपुट के लिए, पहले अगर y इक्वल टू mod x के केस में, y इक्वल टू mod x के केस में x को अगर 1 पुट कर रहा था तो y 1 आ रहा था, तो y इक्वल टू mod x plus 2 के केस में x को अगर मैं 1 पुट करूंगा तो y 3 आएगा. Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Is it very, very, very clear? So for the same input of x, same input, y value are increasing by 2, right? Isn't it? Y value are increasing by 2, right? Isn't it? Is it very, very, very clear? तो y को increase या decrease करना है, y को change करना है तो अपन को vertically change करना पड़ेगा, right? Vertically shift करना पड़ेगा, right? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it very, very, very clear? अपन को vertically shift करना पड़ेगा, right? Is it perfectly clear? तो y equal to mod x plus 2 का ग्राफ मेरे को कोई बोलेगा, तो how would you make the graph of y equal to mod x plus 2? Like this. Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? The graph would be shifted 2 to the top. Is it very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Is it absolutely clear? 2 to the top. Got it? Minus 2 बोलता तो, minus 2 बोलता तो, minus 2 बोलता तो 2 to the bottom. Is it pretty clear? 2 to the bottom. The graph would have shifted. For same values of x, the y value would be 3 less than the previous. So 3 to the bottom, right? Is it very, very, very clear? Yes, समझ में आ रहा है? Is it perfectly clear? Is it perfectly clear? That once you understand this, again, if I just change it, y equal to x minus 2. तो यहाँ पे inside the modulus, the x is changing, right? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Y is staying constant, right? Isn't it? Y is staying constant. Y is staying constant. तो पहले अगर y equal to mod x में, y equal to mod x में, अगर y 4 पे आ रहा था, y equal to mod x में 4 y आ रहा था जब x equal to 4 था, तो अभी mod x minus 2 में, mod x minus 2 में y को 4 लाने के लिए x को क्या करना पड़ेगा? 6, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear, guys? Is it absolutely clear? Is it perfectly clear? So if you have to, now when the x value is decreasing by 2, x value is decreasing by 2, you can see in order to x minus 2 हो रहा है, तो actual value of x क्या हो रहा है? Actual value of x क्या हो रहा है? पहले 4 था, अभी plus 2 हो रहा है, तो it is shifting for sure, but shifting 2 towards right? Is it very, very, very clear? 2 towards right? Is it pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? It's slightly complicated question, but again, if you have understood the idea, then I mean the shifting wala idea, then this becomes very easy. I mean, with x, you need to understand that key x value decreasing, the graph would shift to the right, and x value increasing, the graph would shift to the left. With y, it is increasing, the graph would be shifting to the top, and y decreasing, the graph would be shifting to the bottom. I mean, that's what the idea that you have to use in this question. I'm not touching this question because, not getting into the question and solving it, because this is slightly higher standard question. I mean, as of now, because I have not explained a few nuances to a lot of people, and obviously not touching this part, and that's absolutely fine. I mean, not getting into that solving of that part. I mean, that's fine. this question, I mean, these sort of questions, I mean, these questions do look, when you read them, I mean, student in a college have to choose at least 2 subjects from chemistry, at least 2. I mean, they can go for 3 as well. Chemistry, maths, and physics. The number of students choosing all 3 subjects is 18. So physics, chemistry, and maths, that is equal to 18. All 3. Choosing maths as one of their subject is 23. So maths as one of their subjects. So maths इसके साथ कुछ maths as one of the subject. So all maths guys are 23. And all physics guys choosing physics as one of their subject. Along this, there will be 1 more or 2 more, I don't know, but 25. The smallest number of students who could choose chemistry as one of their subject. So chemistry में already कितने student है? Chemistry में already कितने student है? Chemistry में already कितने student है, guys? Chemistry में already कितने student है? Everyone? 18, right? Isn't it? The answer would be getting more than 18. Now, just see here. मैथ्स में 23 स्टूडेंट में से 18 स्टूडेंट तो केमिस्ट्री में है ऑलरेडी. सो बाकी स्टूडेंट लाइक 18 स्टूडेंट्स आर ऑफ द 3 ऑल 3. सो बाकी कितने बच गए? 5 स्टूडेंट बच गए, राइट? इज इट वेरी 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 क्लियर? इज इट वेरी 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 क्लियर? इज इट परफेक्टली क्लियर? 5 स्टूडेंट बच गए. इज इट परफेक्टली क्लियर? एंड फिजिक्स में हाउ मेनी स्टूडेंट्स आर लेफ्ट आउट? 7. इज इट प्रीटी क्लियर? इज इट वेरी 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 क्लियर? Is it very, very, very clear? I mean, these 5 students of math, they can club with physics or they can club with chemistry, right? Isn't it? They must be 2. I mean, maths with 1 more subject. These 5 students of these 7 students of physics, they can club with chemistry or they can club with math, right? Is it pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? So I have to minimize this. I have to minimize this. So can I say that maths and physics are 5 students here? And maths or physics, can I say maximize the number of students reading maths and physics? I have to minimize the number of students studying chemistry. So I'd be maximizing the number of students studying math and physics. So how many students are gone? Maths, physics, maths with physics and chemistry, all 5 students gone. Here also all 5 students gone. Is it very, very, very clear? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear, guys? Is it perfectly clear? Is this part perfectly clear? Is it very, very, very clear? There are 5 students in maths who are either with physics or chemistry, I don't know. And there are 7 students in physics who are either with maths or chemistry, I don't know. So this maths and physics, these can be 5 students, right? All 5 students can come here. So all 5 students can come here. So the remaining 2 students are of physics and chemistry, right? Isn't it? Remaining 2 students are of physics and chemistry. I'm to minimize, so I'm putting all in maths and physics, maximum as many I can. So remaining 2 students are physics and chemistry. So chemistry number of people would be how much? 18, obviously here. And the 2 more here, right? Is it very, very, very clear? So 18 plus 2 is 20, right? Is it pretty clear, guys? Comes from set theory. If you're good with set theory, you can crack this question. Is it pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? I mean, just you have to understand that maths, there are 5 students. Physics, there are 7 students. So maths and physics, you can make 5 of them. So remaining 2 students of physics must be clubbing with chemistry. If I look at a few more things, just see here. I mean, okay, fine. Let's look at this question. I mean, this question again, if you have to cater this question again, there is an idea that obviously would be talked about in arithmetic progression and geometric progression. A very, very basic idea. It comes under equations as well. So for suppose you have got something like 2a plus or let me not take that, 1a plus 2b is equal to 7. Okay, so if you have got 1a plus 2b equal to 7, 1a plus 2b equal to 7, so can you tell a value that works here? Can you tell me a value that would work here? I mean, if you just look at a value that would work here, or let me take a slightly higher number, 15. So just look at a value. So b equal to 7, and A equal to 1 would work here, right? Is that pretty clear? Is it very clear, guys? Is it very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Now the other value that would work here is like, if you put B as 6, if you put B as 6, then 2B is 12. So 1A should be 3. So A should be 3, right? Is it pretty fine? Is it pretty fine? Is it very fine? Is it perfectly fine to everyone, guys? Is it perfectly clear? If you put B as 5, then A would go how much? Like follow the same pattern. This is increasing by 2. Again, increase it by 2. Again, increase it by 2. Is it working? Is it working, guys? Is it working, guys? Everyone? So anything, if ever there is a situation 1A plus 2B is equal to a constant, if 1A plus 2B is equal to a constant, if you ever come across a situation like this, then you have to keep this in your mind, that the B would be changing by 1, right? If you can see, B is changing by 1, right? Isn't it? B is changing by 1. B would change by 1, the coefficient of A, and A would change by 2, the coefficient of B, right? Is it very clear, guys? Is it perfectly clear? Is it perfectly clear, guys? Is it absolutely clear? And you can also see that one is decreasing, the other one is increasing. You can also say that one is decreasing and the other one is increasing. That is fine. So let me come back to this question quickly. 2x plus 5y is equal to 99. So can I say this, that y value would increase by 2, y value would increase by 2, and x value would increase by 5? Can I x value would decrease by 5? Can I say that? Is it very clear? Can I say that? I mean, not like, let's not look at the increase and decrease. Let's for now focus on the change part. The moment that hits my mind, I have got one particular situation where it would work. I mean, this has to be even, this has to be odd. Multiple of 5. What is the nearest multiple of 5 of 99? What is the nearest multiple of 5 of 99 or something like that? I mean, 95 comes to my mind. So if this is 95, y is how much? Y is how much? If this is 95, y is how much, guys? Y is how much? Y is how much? This is 95, this is 4. So y is how much, guys? Everyone? Y is 19. And x is how much? X is how much, guys? X is 2. And now that you have this, x is 2. Now that you have this, you can use this similar idea. I mean, again, not reaching the answers and stuff like that, but if you use this idea, you can tell that, okay, fine, x would, y, if y is decreasing, then y is decreasing by 2, x would increase by 5, right? Is it very clear? Is it very clear? Is it perfectly clear, guys? Is this perfectly clear? Is this bit perfectly clear? 15 and then 13, 15 and then 13, 13, this is 17. Is it pretty clear, guys? Is it very clear? This is how you can look at this. Once you look at this, you need to understand that key x is greater than equal to y. X is greater than equal to y. So the first case I would take is 13. X is greater than equal to y. So the first case I would take is 17 and 13. And then I have to continue from there. If you know basic counting, then you can nail it down. If you can just go decreasing it, you can count it out. I'm not getting into that part as of now. Then a couple more, I mean, just 15 odd minutes left. So just this very question again. I have used this idea beforehand in one of the questions. 1 plus x, if I have to decrease, because the minimum possible value I have to find out. So that would be dependent on 1 plus x and 1 by y, right? Because other things are constant here. So if 1 plus x has to be decreased, or if 1 plus x has to be kept as small as possible, if 1 plus x has to be kept as small as possible, then what I need to do to x and y? What I need to do to x and y, guys, everyone? What I need to do to the x and y? Can you tell me? Everyone, guys, what I need to do to the x and y? Everyone? X and y has to be maximized, right? Isn't it? X and y has to be maximized. Both has to be maximized, right? Isn't it? Again, the same idea would be used here as well. X and Y has to be maximized, right? Isn't it? You have to maximize both. So what is the maximum? What is the point where both will be maximum? Like if you want to make Y maximum, then Y would be 101, but X would be at 1, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? So what is that one place where you can keep both as maximum? What is that one place where you can keep both as maximum? 51 and 51, right? Isn't both as the maximum? So put both as the maximum, 51 and 51. You do that, you have the answer. Is it pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Got it? If you know a bit of squaring and all, then you can know that this 51 square and 2601 square is related. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Now you can solve it. Now you can pretty much easily solve it. This would be 52 by 51 into 52 by 51 into 2601. It's all simple ideas that you need to use to crack it. Again, this very question, all these questions, I generally don't get into a lot of solving in them. I mean, you have to maximize this value. What is the maximum possible value he's asking? So I just put 1 and check. If I put 1 and check, then what is the value I'm getting? Can you tell me? If I put 1 and check, what is the value I'm getting? 1 by root 2, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it very, very, very clear? If I put 1 and check, what I'm getting is 1 by root 2, right? Is it pretty clear? Is it perfectly clear, guys? Am I getting 1 by root 2? Once I get 1 by root 2, 1 by root 2 can be the answer. 1 by root 2 can be the answer. 1 by root 3 is rejected, right? Isn't it? Because 1 by root 3 is smaller than 1 by root 2, right? 1 by root 3 is smaller than 1 by root 2 because the higher the denominator, lower the entire thing, right? Isn't it? Lower the value, right? Is it very, very, very clear? So this is rejected. Is that pretty clear? This is rejected. Now, just see here. I have got two things between 1 by 1. Can it ever be 1? Like, can it ever be 1, guys? Can it ever be equal to 1? For that, the numerator and denominator should be equal. Can it ever be 1? Tell me, guys. Can it ever be 1? Like, can the numerator and denominator would ever be equal? Can it ever be 1? It can never be 1. So 1 is ultimately rejected. Now, let me put one more value to check. Put one more value to check. So if I put 2 for suppose, if I put 2 for suppose, then what is happening? I have 2 by root 17, right? Is it pretty clear, guys? I have 2 by root 17, right? Isn't it? So 2 by root 17 को मेरे को अगर 1 by root 2 से compare करना है, तो I can write it like this, right? Isn't it? 1 by root 17 by 2. Is it pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? Got it? Is it perfectly clear? Is that bit perfectly clear to everyone, guys? So 1 by root 17 by 2 is what? 1 by root 17 is almost around 4, right? Slightly greater than 4. So 4 by 2 is 1 by 2.xx, right? Is it very, very, very clear? 1 by 2.xx. So again, 1 by 2 is, so 2.xx is more than root 2, right? Isn't it? 2.xx is more than root 2. So again, this fraction would come down than this only. So what is the maximum possible value, guys? What is the maximum possible value? I'm putting 2, it is going, I mean, the denominator is increasing. So more, the higher the value I put, the greater the denominator becomes. The greater the denominator becomes, the smaller the entire thing becomes, right? Isn't it? So what is the maximum possible value? What is the maximum possible value, guys? What is the maximum possible value? Everyone, guys. What is the maximum possible value? Everyone, guys. What is the maximum possible value? Can you tell me what is the maximum possible value? 1 by root 2, right? Isn't it? Because if you're putting 2, the denominator is slightly increasing. If you put 3, it would further increase, further go more. If you put 4, it would go further, go more. So as the denominator is increasing, as the denominator increases, the entire fraction keeps on decreasing, right? Isn't it? Because the entire fraction is keeping on decreasing, like it is decreasing from 1 by root 2, right? Isn't it? So 1 by root 2 has to be the highest value, right? Is it pretty clear, guys? Is that bit pretty clear to everyone, guys? How many people are dead clear with this? Dead clear with this, guys? How many people are very, very, very clear with this? I mean, again, just put the values and all. I mean, I am doing this much of thing just to explain you, but I mean, if you know the simple nuances, then you can crack these sort of questions, I mean, pretty easily. See, I mean, again, all these questions, these questions look difficult. These questions look difficult, but again, if I have to work out this question, AB equal to 432, BC equal to 96, I have to find out the smallest possible value of A plus B plus C, right? Is that pretty clear, guys? Smallest possible value of A plus B plus C. They are positive integers. Now, if I have to solve this, how do I need to approach it? I have to minimize all the three, right? Isn't it? I have to minimize all the three, right? Isn't it, guys? Isn't it? If I have to find out the smallest possible value, I have to minimize all the three. If I have to minimize all the three, then what I need to think is, let me just try to minimize A plus C. Let me just try to minimize A plus C. If I have to minimize A plus C, then I have to keep on increasing B, right? Is it pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? I have to keep on increasing B, right? Is it pretty clear, guys? Because मैं तीन को एक साथ minimize करने में थोड़ा difficult होता है, तो I'm just sort of thinking about minimizing A plus C, and then I would think about, I mean, where I am proceeding. I mean, that's how I can look at it. Why I picked B is also common to both of them. So what can be the maximum possible value of B? What can be the maximum possible value of B? B can be 96. BC को देखने से B can be 96 लग रहा है, right? Isn't it? लेकिन क्या 96 डालूंगा तो 432 completely divisible है, guys? 96 डालूंगा तो 432 completely divisible है. It would come out to be 4.5, so not divisible. So next possible greater value that B can take is 48, right? Is it very, very, very clear? Next highest value that B can take is 48. So the next highest value that B can take is 48. 96 तो नहीं हो सकता, तो 48. So C would be how much? With B being 48, C would be how much, guys? With B being 48, C would be how much, guys? Everyone. With B being 48, C would be how much? Everyone. Can you tell me? 2. And similarly, in case of AB, with B being 48, A would be how much? A would be how much, guys? A would be how much? A would be 9, right? Isn't it? So once you know that part, becomes slightly easier to work out. So this is 9 plus 2. So if you are getting 9 plus 2, how much is this? You are getting 9 plus 2. So how much is the entire sum? 59, right? 59. So 59 is an option. Don't mark 59 because there is something smaller than 59, right? Is it very, very, very clear? There is something smaller than 59, right? Is it pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? There is something smaller than 59, right? Is it pretty clear? So can you further reduce B? Can you further reduce B? Let me see if I can further reduce B. If I further reduce B, like 96 से आधा, 48 से आधा, 24. 24 तो ये कितना हो जाएगा? 4. B अगर आधा हो जाएगा तो C डबल हो जाएगा, right? 24 and 4. And ये कितना हो जाएगा? This was 48 into 9. So ये भी अगर आधा हो गया तो ये 18 हो जाएगा, right? Is it very, very, very clear? So the new configuration is what? 24 plus 18 plus 4, right? So how much is this? 24 plus 18 plus 4 is 46. You get 46, you mark it, you move ahead. Is it pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? You don't need to bother about other one because this is the lowest, right? Is it coming out? So again, this is one situation where your thinking part has to be on your feet. I mean, if of course there must have been things where the ideas and stuff that was discussed was slightly on the higher side because you must not have seen a lot of things or must not have discussed a lot of things. I mean, must not be knowing the ideas related to a lot of things. But once you know the ideas, like these are all very simple ideas, like simplistic ideas, where you have to realize that one has to be A plus B. If A is maximized, then B would be minimized, and that's the idea I used here. So and again, I mean, if you must have marked what I did not use variables in any of the questions, right? Did you mark that, guys? I did not use variables in any of the questions. And I had taken all the tougher side questions. I didn't take the easier side questions. I mean, there are a lot of easy questions you would get in CAT. So one final thing that I would tell you before you wrap up, before you actually solve the CAT paper, the final advice that I would give you before a CAT paper is always solved in two halves. I mean, you can never solve it in one half. Part one or round one, there has to be solved in 2 rounds, round one and round two. Round one, all the easier questions would come into round one. All the easier questions. If you just pick up the CAT paper, CAT 2020 paper, CAT 2020, obviously the quant paper was slightly on the tougher side. These were all 2020 questions for me. But there would be good number of like 8 to 10 easy questions. Why it is advisable that you get into round one or solve questions in round, if it is a tougher one, or if it is not from your comfortable zone, or if it is something that is lengthy, not working out at that point of time, then you can skip it and you can go to questions as, you can go to the easier ones. Because for suppose, agar systematically kar rahe ho tum log, so you get into a tougher question. If you get into a tougher question, what would happen is you might get stuck. And as you get stuck, the psychology changes that very moment. Is that pretty clear, guys? The psychology changes that very moment. Your brain stops working. And once your brain stops working, that would be a direct, you won't be even able to solve the easy questions. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? So a CAT paper should always be solved in round one and round two. And obviously, the all my students present over here, they did not bother about it, because I would show it to them on live basis that all of my students, I would take you online like this and obviously solve the CAT paper. Like obviously, when I would be solving, I won't be telling anything actually, because I won't be explaining the concepts and all, and how I'm picking up questions, how I'm skipping questions, how I'm choosing questions. So that is one thing I would look at. And once you look at that one thing and pick up the round one questions easily, the easier lot first, then what happens is you would be good on your confidence would up. Then you can cater the round two questions, some of the round two questions as well. Is that pretty clear, guys? Is it very, very, very clear? Is it perfectly clear? So be at ease to skip the questions if you are not comfortable at that point of time. Don't solve the question systematically. Always make it a habit that whenever you're solving mocks, always make it a habit that you are solving it in round one and round two, rather than solving it straight away. Is that pretty clear? And we would of course look at that part. Like I'd solve an actual CAT paper with my students, all my students present over here. For them, I'm saying that obviously I'd be solving one actual CAT paper with you guys. Not one, maybe 2 to 3 actual, actual mock papers to make you realize that a mock that you have taken actually. Because once I take that mock, you would be able to realize that what I'm exactly doing, what you didn't do. So that's it, guys. Hope today's session was pretty clear to everyone, guys. How many of you are perfectly clear with today's session, guys? Hope today's session was pretty clear with everyone. Hope you got a fair bit of idea that how am I approaching the question, like how I do go about the question. I don't get into much of conventional stuff and all. I just look at how much of easiness it can create for my brain. That's it. So hope that part is pretty clear. Bye, guys. Have a great day, a great time, man. Hope you enjoyed the session. Bye.